Now, for us to look at the same matter, Rebo Usman joins us now. He's the Chief of Staff of the government of Taraba State. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. You heard Haja Umar Farouk did say, well, everything is in order in the camp of the APC. They are excited because, according to the APC, your party didn't field a candidate as there were no primaries.
Good morning, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you. It's funny because PC would appear to be a party that speaks with both sides of the tongue. When it's them, it's good. When it doesn't suit them, however true it is false. I've heard Hadia speak here, and I was just laughing when I was listening to her because everybody is aware of what's happened in Taraba State. First and foremost, it is not true that PDP did not have a candidate. And that is because the PDP had their primaries in Abuja and selected their candidate that they forwarded to INEC. I think everybody in this country and the world over should be very, very clear about this. Darius was screened, passed, and given the go-ahead to contest the election as the candidate of PDP by INEC themselves.
But how
PDP was, identified on the ballot papers for the governorship elections in Taraba State. After the elections, INEC on the spot completed and gave me, because I was the returning officer for PDP, the declaration form for Darius as governor of Taraba State. Thereafter, INEC made an arrangement and Darius came to their state headquarters with fanfare and supporters to collect his certificate of return.
Mr. Usman, if I may come in here, you said INEC itself screened your governor.
Of course, everybody knows that it is a process.
But INEC also testified at the tribunal that they did not observe the primary, and it was on that basis the tribunal gave its ruling.
That's the fun of it. The whole thing is turning out to be some fun in this country because it will appear we have 2 or 3 INECs in Nigeria. So I think the security agencies, the government of Nigeria may have to do something about INEC. Who was that INEC that screened Darius and passed him to stand the election? Who was that INEC that put his name on the ballot papers? Who was that INEC that gave him the certificate, or the declaration form that he had won the election? And who was that INEC that gave him a certificate of return as the governor of Taraba State? And who is that INEC again that came over to say Darius did not stand election? So we have to look at these issues and begin to see that this country is being ridiculed by some disgruntled elements, by some people who are selfish, by some people who think they can steal the rights of the people through the back door. And we must be very, very careful about this because this is a dangerous trend. We cannot allow it to stand in this country.
Is this the basis for your appeal, that the INEC that gave the returning, the certificate of return is the same INEC that screened your governor, your candidate?
No, Suleiman, I'll be talking to you as a politician, not as a lawyer. As a politician, I know we went through the processes. Sorry, Mr. Ibe, sorry. As a politician, we went through all the processes that saw our governor, our candidate emerge as governor of Taraba State. That is very, very clear. And of course, I said I don't want to delve into the political issues, but thank God judgments, rulings are coming up now that political party affairs are political party affairs. So we have to look at all these issues. But if you give me the time to give you a background of how we got our candidate, I'll give it to you.
Go ahead.
Okay. We had a crisis in the party. Of course, we had our congresses where we came up with our 33 delegates from each ward. Now, that time we had a sitting deputy governor who was then acting governor, who felt that the results of the delegates' elections will not favor him because he was an aspirant for the governorship of Taraba State under the PDP. Now he decided to come up with his own list outside the list that was produced through the elections. Now we within the PDP went to court to make sure that his own list, which was not the wish of the people, was not presented for the primary elections. The court in the first instance gave us an interim injunction and finally ruled that that issue was an internal party affair and that our party should go back and resolve their issues in-house. The party went back in-house and resolved that since the two lists were contentious, they would drop them and make use of the statutory delegates. The statutory delegates were used. Now, let me tell you, while this process was on, the Garba Oman himself was removed by the Supreme Court. There was so much tension in Taraba State, and when the officials that went to Jalingo to conduct the primaries went down, it was not possible. The situation was so tense that they had to come back themselves and not conduct it. And so the party resolved that all the statutory delegates should come to Abuja and carry out with and do the primaries. And I want to assure you that within Wadata House there was an INEC official there. That is why we are asking questions in PDP. How many INECs do we have, for goodness sake? How many INECs do we have? And of course, legally speaking, it is not mandatory for INEC to even be there. The party made a submission of their candidate to INEC. INEC accepted and caused us to go in for the elections. Why would they turn around now and tell us, after winning overwhelmingly by close to 100,000 votes, somebody will come and tell us that it's a wasted vote? We are talking about democracy. We are talking about the decision of the people. We are talking about who people want. You cannot tell me, for goodness sake, that somebody who just got five local governments out of 16 local governments should now become the governor of Taraba State. How can she be governor of Taraba State? It's not the will of the people.
Let's ask you, sorry, I want to go back, sorry, Nyota, I want to go back to the issue which has to do with the primaries. And you have taken it to the doorsteps of INEC. Let's start asking questions about the INEC official who came, who was there. Is there any document he or she appended her or his signature on that day?
First and foremost, I was not one of the officials that was at Wadata House.
But you were the returning officer.
Yeah. At Wadata House, I was not there. But these are things that the party can prove. But even before this, I want us to take note of this. Whether the INEC, by law, whether INEC was there or not doesn't really matter. Nobody is supposed to, the report of INEC is not supposed to be a basis for the acceptance of our candidate by anybody. Because it is very clear by law that INEC may attend our congresses and not shall. I want us to get that clear. We are all educated people. Let us not mingle things. We have a fundamental issue here, which is the right of the people of Taraba State. We should not bring things that do not make meanings to come and confuse issues just because some individuals have interest in Taraba State. So for goodness sake, we are talking about over 3 million people in Taraba State. We should not bring in all these small things to come and confuse people and cause problems. See what happened immediately that announcement was made.
But why do you
We have to appreciate the fact that we're dealing with the lives of our people.